amount of time.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to the Thursday, July 18th noon meeting of the Village of Lansing staff and Board of Trustees. I will start the meeting with a roll call. Susan Ainsley.
Present.
Carolyn Greenwald.
Here.
Patrick Gillespie. Here. Kathleen Yen. Part of us here, so we have a full quorum. Okay. John, what's going on?
Not much. Just been busy doing things around. We finished the retention pond. We cut a lot of brush down at Black Shin on the back slopes of the retention pond as part of the stormwater recommendations, and a little bit from the Greenway Committee. And we cleaned that pond out. We've been doing some blacktop repairs. We did one down at the mall. We finished the piece that was, it was definitely our section, but we paved it 2 years ago, but we paved over a section that actually belonged to the mall, so it didn't hold up.
Okay.
So we boxed it all out and paved that in. So there's no more finger pointing on the conditions of the roads. The village roads are all hunky dory. So, just working, still trying to get the spec book and the bid book created for the sewer project. Hopefully that was supposed to be done this week. I talked to Donnie again today. It doesn't look like it's going to get done this week, so hopefully next week. Really not much. Just been steadily busy. Paving all got done. Striping, of course, I reported on that last month. Trying to think, is there any big things right now? Oh, pollinator garden, we worked on that last 2 days. We're pretty much done to our contribution. We put the compost on it this morning and rototilled it in. We did spend $2,200 on a rototiller because it saved that much in labor and time trying to get it done. It wasn't allocated for in the budget. So I just didn't feel we had time to kind of get pre-approval on it. And I felt what it saved, I could justify what it saved us in time and stuff on that.
Right. What was the use of the rototiller? Exactly why?
Because they wanted us to till down 12 inches and then put 2 inches of compost on it and then till that in. And if it was just 30, 40 square feet, it wouldn't be an issue, but it's 2,000 square feet. So it's almost the size of this building, or 3/4 of the size of this building. It's a pretty good sized bed, maybe half the size of this building. So it was a lot of work. It saved days is what it did. And a lot of labor out in this smoky heat. So,
right.
And we trimmed the pollinator garden, the original estimates from 20-some thousand down to around 5,000. So a lot of that was bulb and tree reduction, but a lot of it was using village forces too to save funds.
Okay.
So, guys been maintaining the parks and garbages. It seems like I'm not sure where we stand on the CSC test or the CSC grant.
I emailed Michelle.
I talked to Dondi about it this morning. I feel like something's going on with the DEC website to not allow her. Did that ever get straightened out?
I just emailed her and I said, have you heard anything? And I think she wrote back, not a peep.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to get her administrative access.
We all have to have access. No one can access it right now.
Really?
Well, it's not even on our website, not on our account.
The contract's not in the portal, is it?
Not in,
So we need to figure
not as
that out.
our visibility.
Would you be willing to call Myra?
If she needs me to, I can call them. I don't know Myra.
Well, I mean, I only know that when I called last time, when I was applying for the grant, she called me and called back. It's like Fenwick or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what her last name is, but.
It's whoever Michelle sent the email to, right?
Yeah. And I have at least one reply from her. If you can't find her phone number, I can dig it up.
So, so real quick, while you guys are, we can work on that, I guess, offline, out of meeting, real quick. Um, I've been working with the Heights of Lansing, um, homeowners association to get the easement. They had a board meeting Tuesday night and it wasn't quite a unanimous decision to give the village an easement. There was one person that had some questions and some reservations on it. I'll be meeting with them today at 3, with Jim Sherman, the president. He is all ready to sign the easement, which I think is a milestone. It really is. I think I helped them shed some light on the HOA up there a little bit, though. They own about 12 acres of land that they did not know they owned. And 12 acres of land, if anybody knows, there's about 44,000 square feet in an acre. So times that by 12. They didn't realize they owned that much land. They were just perplexed by it. They don't pay taxes on it. So, that was my questions to him is, you didn't know you paid it? You got to pay taxes on it, right? He goes, no, we're not for profit. So they haven't been paying village taxes on 12 acres or town or county or whatever. So I think that was a little bit of a shady scenario by the developer to just give them 12 acres of land and take it off the tax roll. I don't know if the village ever had any say in that or not, but what the biggest, and Mike and I had this conversation with Mike. I wouldn't say we had the conversation. I was explaining to him what I'm seeing as projecting as a foreseeable problem is the retention areas on what would that be? Phase 3?
Phase 3.
Phase 3 are owned by the homeowners association. They're not even owned by the development.
So they would have to maintain those.
Well, technically as it is, but unless they reserved something in the deed, a reservation, they always put at the end of of a title, reserved something. They might reserve the rights to access the pond, but the pond would be perpetually maintained by the HOA unless they didn't reserve any rights to it. The developer didn't reserve any rights to it. And if they didn't, even the roadway that goes down through there that the village would actually take over. If you look at that map, there's a bunch of white areas
It would split it.
they own the road. I mean, the whole HOA, if you could point your finger at it right there. Yes, down a little bit, down, right. All these developments, see, these are single lots. And typically a developer doesn't subdivide those lots until they're ready to subdivide and start building. They subdivided these properties, and I remember many years ago, they were complaining because once they subdivide, each one of them becomes a tax parcel now. And the taxes were enormous on. So all this land, a lot of this land that got in between here was given to the homeowners association, deeded over. And even this roadway right here was deeded to the homeowners association. It's all homeowners association. So the only thing technically the developer owns right now is these lots. So it's gonna be hard for a developer unless the current developer maintained reserved rights to it. It's gonna be hard for a developer to build, eventually build. And I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm not worried about it. It's just, they were just perplexed. We didn't have insurance on the property. We didn't even know we owned property. You know what I mean? So, and Natalie and I and Donnie did some research and, he thought each individually property owner needed to sign off on easement and it's the HOA, not for profit LLC or.
That's good for us.
Yeah, it's easy for us.
For them,
Yeah.
down the road, it's gonna be.
So that easement is a stone's throw away. I think we're almost there and we should have it by the middle of next week. That leaves 2 easements. One, I think we could get probably within the next few days, and that would be the Clepex. But my goal is to get that East Point easement. And that would be 2 easements, one to connect their existing trail there, and then we could connect our trail to their trail, and we could have a lot of use.
That was the original plan.
Right.
That came in, so.
Right.
I'm glad that that's coming.
Yeah.
Fruition.
So at first I didn't get much response from East Point, and then I started, really kind of every other every third day kind of emailing, and I finally got this Tim really working with me. I got to get him I've instructed, I've requested Natalie to get the easements to send to them. And then basically he wanted a map, Google imagery of the exact location of the easement. So I feel like we're getting close and could start construction of this trail. The second little snag I run into was when we do budgets, it's in February, January, February, March. And, I budgeted 70,000 for the skid steer. It's like 73 and some change. So, um, I don't really see an issue, but I kind of want to just run it by you, let you know. But the beauty of it is I put $30,000 in revenue from the sale of the skid steer and they offered us 34. So it was kind of like a trade up. But since their numbers are government numbers and fixed, it's not like they can raise the price of their trade and lower the price it's not like that. It's not like buying a car, how they're always pencil whipping numbers. It's not like they can do that. They're pretty fixed. They're pretty firm numbers.
Yeah.
So I feel like at the end of the day, would pay like $3,600 more for a skid steer, but we're getting $4,000 more than I budgeted. So it's kind of like a trade-off. Does anybody see any issues or objections with this?
Just a question. So the 3,000, different $2,000
Roughly.
due to state increase?
Yeah, every June, see, we can't really technically purchase, and they suspected the numbers to be the same, but they did go up a little bit in June when the state pricing goes.
Okay, so that's
they-
the annual cycle.
Yeah, it's like 2 to 3%. So, I don't like to put a contingency on those purchases. I like to give you hard numbers. You know what I mean?
Understand. And you do the
And-
best you can do with
Yeah.
that, having the new statement.
So, it looks like used equipment, resale equipment was, maybe gone up a little bit. So we got a little bit more. So how I obtain used trade numbers, because it's so hard. Some pieces of equipment have more or less hours on it. And I know you got a long meeting ahead of us, but, I go to the auction sites and resale sites and stuff for used equipment. And I just kind of try to take an average, and some are high, some are low. And, so.
Well, it's been my experience with them since COVID, that those markets, buying and selling, are all very volatile / dynamic. So you have to do the best you can do.
Yeah. It's really, since COVID, you're seeing a lot more of the small equipment that we use become more valuable because a lot of people are starting their own landscape businesses. There's a lot of people out there doing it.
Interesting.
And so those pieces of equipment are entry level, inexpensive pieces of equipment. So they're a little bit more, I think the supply is lower than the demand is higher. So,
Right, that's interesting.
but, I have
do the trustees see any issue with proceeding with the skid steer buy in lieu of the sale of the used equipment being primarily a wash in the overall budget scheme?
I agree.
Carolyn?
Principal.
Yeah, you. John?
move forward then.
You're good.
All right, thank you. I've been working with, Security Mutual and finalizing that temporary easement for the grant. We did some changes in their area a little bit. Unfortunately, about 4 or 5 years ago, they planted 6 nice maple trees. And we're probably gonna have to, thank goodness for the contingency budget and the extra money in that grant, is we're gonna probably end up tearing those trees out and planting new ones out of it because of the grading plan. Like this Michelle said, don't do anything out of the right of way without an easement. And you better have the easements in place before the contract's done. And this is the only easement area we need. And unfortunately, the trees, since we're elevating the walk, we're extending the back slope to make it safe. And by doing so, we would bury a good majority of the trunk of the tree. Even though if we could just lift them up, it would be great.
Yeah.
But they're directly underneath the high lines that are there. So it doesn't really make sense what's going on. So with that said, I have just a little information for you when we get on the sewer project, and that's about it. Any questions or anything for now?
The bulbs that you dug up in Shannon Park for the installation of the pulmonary.
Yeah,
Who is the custodian of those bulbs?
they're up there at the shop right now.
Will they remain safe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I mean-
suggested putting them right back in right now, like I would just plant them, but Lynn thinks that it might trigger early bloom, so we should wait till the fall. And then I was thinking of having a neighborhood party and inviting the neighbors to come and put them back in, because if we use the truck to put them back in, which actually I'd also be fine with, if we asked Bill Miller to put them right back in.
That was my thinking.
I was thinking that
I
too.
was thinking that when he does these bulbs down here, we just have him go down and
If
do
we-
it outside
We
of
can
the,
either do that if he's willing to go to 2 locations, but if he's not, then I'll have a neighborhood party and we'll replant them and then we could cluster them, which is more natural looking.
Mhm.
But they'll go back in.
I feel like, there's gonna be a certain amount of them bulbs that are not gonna make it. And now, when you're digging them up, you shave some and,
Party,
you know, and we're like, we'll throw it in. In a couple of weeks, we'll smell the box, and if it smells like rotten apples, then we'll go through and like onions, you know, you get that one bad onion in the bunch and it makes them all stink. So,
You mean me?
yeah, well, you guys.
The ground will be pretty soft and
Yeah.
I have a little auger attachment to my driver that I can use. And so we can plant them with relative ease.
If Cornell Co-op, going back to my days at Cornell Co-op, they've got a bulletin, they've got websites, and I just wanted to be sure
Yeah, no, we have,
because it's
Fairly
labor
safe.
intensive.
yeah, fairly good storage area. Our shop is fairly cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns? You and I will meet and talk and work on all that stuff. I promise you we will.
And you're talking about the grant, the sidewalk?
For her?
Yes.
No, talking about this policies and the sewer project.
Okay.
Her and I need to meet, and talk about the sewer project. I want to walk it with her and we'll take the maps with us, and everybody else that would like to come along is welcome, and we're just gonna go down there, we're gonna walk it, and it'll be a nice walk. I just don't want to do it now with the smoky stuff and, you know, but
Okay.
I was gonna bring that up later, the air quality.
Yeah.
Not to mention the index,
Yeah.
you need to keep yourself safe.
yeah, it wasn't bad this morning. We were out there banging some compost in, and then we were up there working on some boards and stuff on the trailer, and we stepped outside and it was like twice as bad. So I pity anybody that's got to work outside in this. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Chris? Okay. Nick?
A lot of mowing on top of hoping not.
Okay. Yeah, lots of mowing, and soon we're gonna have even more, it sounds like. We keep growing our trails and so forth, we're gonna have to do some mowing around those, aren't we? Okay, thank you both. Mike?
I'm continuing my vacant building crusade. I got into Friendly's and Trip Hotel. Friendly's was relatively decent, and pretty easy. They have new management. Stephanie Gonzalez has left. She was my contact, and now another gentleman stepped in, and he was very receptive to whatever I needed on that. They're pretty much got to give me a couple other pictures and check their fire alarm system, and they should be good. And I'll put them on the annual schedule because they're an assembly area. The Trip Motel, I met with Dan Holmick at the site, explained to him what we were doing, why we were doing it. He did have all his documentation for the sprinkler system, for the fire alarm system, he had just gotten all his fire extinguishers updated. There's a couple strobes that aren't working on his fire alarm system that he's gonna have to fix. I also told him that I'm gonna end up writing them up for some of the exterior work, like there's a lot of weeds that were around. To make sure that the area around the pool is secured because we've had issues before with homeless people. Bunking up, checking up in the area. And I also told him that there's going to be, I'll write him up on some of the larger potholes in the parking lot. Not gonna make them repave or anything like that, but at least take care of the craters that are in there. He was pretty good about that. I'd asked him if he's continuing to try to open up. He said that it's very difficult to get employees at this point, otherwise he'd be open. So we'll see how that goes. And I've got the other two scheduled. There'd be a building up here, at Murray Estates. And there's also a vacant, the vacant, Cuda Medical building just up here on the left. Other than that, fire inspections, just keeping up with them. It seems to be going fine. I had a call the other day and that person wanted me to bring it to the board of trustee attention. He lives up on Sun Path on the other side of Lake Watch. I guess in May or something, Lake Watch had another event, something like that up there, whether it had to do with the Cornell's graduation. But wanted to know if there's something we could do about our noise ordinance. I explained to him, how it works out, how the method goes as far as me coming in, getting a decimal reading. I also told him that it's difficult because unless it's a continuous sound, it's hard to get that changed. If it's like an event, one single event, I don't have the authority to go to shut down the whole event. He said, well, why don't you talk to the board of trustees about getting that authority? And I said, well, it's not really that easy either. So I said I would bring it up to the board of trustees and I just did. We had a meeting yesterday with the Stormwater Coalition. One of the things that might be coming down the road here is we pay our annual dues to the coalition for all of their work. We end up paying about $1,500 a year, and it's been going on for good 13 years or so, just that same amount. It's coming to a point with the new demands of DEC that the coalition has to hire more people to go out and help with all the regulations that. So it's either they hire summer work for people to go out and do this, or it's going to increase my time going out and doing this. So kind of one way or another, it's somebody's going to pay for it. What the coalition is looking for is possibly raising those dues. We don't know exactly how much yet. We've been getting by just fine because each year we've been awarded a grant to do a certain aspect of what the new regulations are. But we can foresee that grants aren't always going to be there. And so this might end up popping up for next year's budget season. That might end up going up. I just wanted to get that introduced to you that it might have, or it might be asked increase. So
Have they indicated how much of a raise?
not yet. We were asking Angel Hinical how much she thought, and she goes, I don't dare give you an answer right now.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
But they used to spend about 22,000 a year, and our dues would cover that, and now they're getting upwards of 38,000. So
About a third or more.
yeah, so it's
I-
bunch of numbers.
Just a question. Should they propose an increase like that? Do the trustees feel that it might be beneficial to have someone from that organization come in and present to us why they are raising the rates, rather than just accept it and pay it? I would like to have some answers and some input into their process as to why they're doing this. Not put it on your shoulders to come in and tell us their decisions, but for them to come in and tell us their decisions. Okay. That's a substantial increase. And at what point can people say no? I guess in our case, if you alluded to this, is if we do that, then it's going to increase your job load. And it's probably worth the money, but I think that we should hold their feet to the fire as far as the increase.
Yeah, plan was.
Okay, man.
And I think it's always good to get the people that are directly involved with both providing the grants and providing the services, as we did with the Cuba Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization. They're more than happy to come in and talk to the village and explain the budget, explain the services, explain the funding opportunities. So I think that any partnerships that the village has, it makes sense for a short presentation Q&A where you can get your answers from directly from the source.
One other thing, and Susan will probably cover this with the planning board, but I submitted to the planning board a draft best law, pulled it together from a bunch of different areas, and Pam gave it to them the last meeting, which you're reviewing. I'm gonna start working on the actual application. So we might as well have a best application. So I'll let you know more about what's going on with it, but I know you probably end up going over with code and zoning and all that, so I'll look that out.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Do you have any questions on anything? Circus went great. Not circus. Carnival went great, except for somebody got a dart in the head. And
Lawn dart?
Yeah, on Dart. That brings back memories. Okay. Is that everything, Mike? Okay, thank you. Jody,
Yeah, I've been playing catch up since returning from vacation. The tax bills were due by July 1st. We had 11 residents who paid their taxes online with their credit cards or e-check, totaling $2,872. July water bills went out and we have started receiving a couple of credit card payments for those also. I apologize for not taking the June 15th minutes off of the agenda for the last Monday meeting. I didn't get all the corrections from everyone. I meant to take it off, but anyways, I sent you the updated minutes from the 15th. So would you like to approve those?
I'll move that the draft minutes from the June 15th meeting be approved.
Second.
Carolyn seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Water sewer account N1938 is requesting that a portion of their sewer be removed from their accounts since they use the water to fill their pool. It didn't go down the sewer. So if the village would like to remove their portion of the sewer, it would be just an adjustment of $13.52 because they said the pool takes 7,600 gallons. So would you like to waive that?
I guess my question is, normally this is a one-time event. If they refill their pool every year, this is going to be an annual event.
And you don't start with an empty pool. You always have half amount of the pool in place all the time.
Well, this is the only time we've ever done it for that account because I looked back to see if it's been done before.
Okay.
And he said that he had to totally drain his pool this year because of issues they had, not something that normally gets done.
Structural.
So-
But I would assume if they fill this water at some time in the future, it will be drained. So at
I
some
asked
time in
that,
the future,
and he
this water is
drained-
going down the sewer.
So there was some water in his pool because that exact question I asked. He said, no, he put it into a jug.
Isn't that eventually into our
No.
water system?
No, stormwater system.
That'd be stormwater.
If I can make a recommendation,
Right into.
Please, John.
this is, somebody waters their plants. Where's that water? It's not going down the sewer. We're gonna start giving credit for people watering their gardens. I mean, that's a luxury. It's not a, if he was filling his life support machine or something like that, it might be different.
Right.
But we're talking a pool. This is I mean, it's revenue. You don't want to start offering deductions. It's rents for the village.
He's,
You charge the sewer department.
no,
I have a question. When did the policy for a one-time waiver start?
2 years ago.
No, it's been longer than that.
Was it?
We usually, I mean, because otherwise you're gonna get chronic people that always come.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of, a couple years ago, we didn't actually state that we're what the one time.
Because I'm wondering, I thought it occurred when the online
That was, it
options started.
was only a penalty. Didn't have anything to do with the water
Okay.
charges, only penalties. So if someone's late one time and normally they're paying on time, just because of circumstances, we'll give them a one-time courtesy.
On the penalties, not
On
on
the
the
penalties,
charges.
not on any purchase.
I agree with John about making the distinction of where the water's going is a slippery slope.
Right. I agree.
Okay, so we will not do that.
I think if someone owns a pool and they're maintaining it, $13 extra, so like a drop in the pool.
$13.
Yes, so.
No, I agree with John, but I'd also like to just revisit that policy of a waiver, especially if we are having problems.
We don't seem to.
We
need
don't have any problems. The only waiver that we're talking about is penalties. It doesn't have anything to do with flowers.
I think that if there was an issue, a global billing issue, we would consider that separately than from the one-time waiver policy.
Right,
We're
yeah.
talking about somebody making an accidental mistake. They get a one-time waiver.
The waiver.
They get to make one personal whoops mistake. And if we were to make a mistake or Bowling Point was doing a mistake or there was a mailing snafu, that's completely separate, of course. That would be considered.
Another thing that happens is people go away for the winter and a water line breaks inside the house or garage. And it's the first time, and as far as we know, the only time that's happened, and they have a huge water bill because of the water that ran and ran and ran. That probably would eventually get shut off by Bolton Point rather than the owner. We might, but still, it's a one time. After that point, they should know they need to prevent the lines from breaking in their home. But the first time,
It was very common.
No, if a water line breaks, Bolton Point still charges them. They still use the water point blank. The only thing we have ever waived
penalties.
is our surcharge of water.
Okay.
So we feel, okay, you had a break. The water still went through, you still have to pay for it. But we, as a village, will waive our surcharge,
Which is on top of theirs.
which is on top of Bolton Point's charge, which, yeah, we're trying to help people.
Well, it was very common years ago. What started this was professors lived in the village a lot. And they were on like 2 or 3 month sabbaticals or a hiatus or something. And they weren't around when they got the bill to pay the bill. So I remember this is a conversation from many years ago.
Yeah, several years.
People go long-term out of town in the village.
But now they have the ability to pay online.
And that's the
Hopefully that will stop. Hopefully that will stop it. Or at least, okay. What else, Jody?
Oh, also, when the bills went out, they usually go out on the 1st of July. Williamson Law Book does that. However, when they sent them out on the 1st, there was a electrical problem, like a storm or something that kicked it out and stopped it. So then, they actually did go out to the 7th.
Oh, okay.
So, because they called Winona at Bolton and she had it fixed. I'm like, I've done the backup. It's there. It should have gone through. But, so there was a little snafu there, but people all got their bills, so.
Do we
it's all
need to
good.
extend the deadline then?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, because a lot of the people that get them online also get the cards. And the
Okay.
cards went out just now.
Okay.
So. How about the vouchers? Which I approved the vouchers.
Did everyone get a chance to look at the vouchers? Were there any questions or concerns related to the vouchers? Then I will move that we approve the July 15th, July 15th, 16th, sorry, I'm a date behind. The July 16th audits and bills.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Do we want to go through the?
The next thing is I've analyzed the financial reports, taking into consideration the last bit of bills that came in for 25-26, which is your abstract number 14. And spoke with John about all the encumbrances that need to be done. So in front of you, you have a list of all the year-end transfers and encumbrances that need to be done. Ronnie had made the comment that this is a long list. This is a whole lot shorter than last year. Just
It seems-
I'll let you know.
Seems long, okay.
Yeah, but it's just little things.
It's part of.
For instance, like the first thing, the transfer, that was for the Williams and Mumble, you guys already approved to be done. And that was just, we were waiting to see if I needed to actually transfer that money or not. And we ended up doing it, so.
Okay.
But all the other ones are just little things. You know, we went over with the traffic controllers, that was the one big one, 37. And then the storm sewer. So.
Did anyone have questions about the transfers or the encumbrances that are on the backside?
Yeah, happy to hear that our truck is finally gonna get delivered next week. We've only been waiting, what, 3 years
Three?
for it?
Yeah, it's insane.
Mm.
They say it's gonna get worse too.
And then like you have to encumber the trees because you can't take those to the fall, so.
Was there a cost associated with getting your truck up?
The truck delay, no. But what I'm hearing now is it's like a sales vehicle. They have to pay a floor plan fee from the manufacturer. So now they're requesting the payment for the truck up front because it's the bodybuilders that are taking the time delaying. So that stinks because now it'll be two different warranty departments instead of one, the upfitters being under the truck sales place, being on one warranty place. So that's that's gonna be terrible now, I think. And then you're basically paying for a truck that might not have a valid warranty on it by the time the bill gets done 3 years later. So things have changed because they had the COA, you know what I mean, cover their, and so they're protecting themselves by doing this pre-purchase trucks and purchase a truck when it arrives instead of paying for it after the body's been.
Or do you get a sense for, is anyone pushing to negotiate warranty beginning upon delivery rather than manufacture?
I'm not sure how they're handling it on the new trucks because when you pay for that truck, you better bring it home because they're not responsible for it at their place. So when it comes time to put the body on it, you are responsible to take it up to the bodybuilders. So I don't know how the warranty is going to work, to be honest with you on that. I've asked a question on ours. Ours doesn't take place. We got everything in perfectly because our warranty doesn't start until the day we receive it on both sides.
Good.
So rather than buy a truck and wait and not having a warranty by the time you can actually use it, because you can't use a truck that doesn't have anything on it, you know what I mean?
Right. I understand.
So I don't know what's gonna happen. And they got a new emission coming out, so the new emission is using electric to do burn offs instead of fuel for burn offs. So they're running 48 volts on trucks now to do a emissions burn off instead of fuel. So we're gonna see what happens because New York's famous for wiring issues with corrosiveness and salt and stuff. So it's all gonna get really bad. So
Oh,
not
but
gonna get any better. That's all I have.
Okay, an interesting diversion. Does anyone have any questions or concerns with the transfers or encumbrances that Jody's presented to us today? Then I will move a resolution to approve the 2025-26 budget transfers for the general fund, water fund, and sewer fund, and for the 25-26 encumbrances.
Second.
Carolyn seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Anything else, Jody?
Well, the only thing I had was, last thing is the agenda for Monday night. I have the Joint Youth Commission is coming to give a presentation. I don't have anything else. I will be out of town on Monday, so, I will not be attending the meeting. But I think maybe by the end of this meeting, we'll have some more agenda items.
I think we will. Making a note for 6:20 meeting.
So,
Good travels and good luck, Jody. Is that everything?
mhm.
Okay, good deal.
The Shannon Park block party was last Friday, and I just want to report that I got really positive feedback from, I had brought a copy of comprehensive plan that every villager should know document, some other documents. And I got really positive feedback on the comprehensive plan, but also in particular, several people said they were really happy about being able to pay with their credit card online. So just wanted to let you guys know that they were happy with that. The Commercial Area Advisory Committee met. We're still working on our initial vision statement. And then also I asked Mike to present on some of the code changes. Just because I think part of our goal from the comprehensive plan and with the group itself is to foster open lines of communication. And I thought to myself, a lot of these people, it's not, they're not like CMC, CLT, like we rolls off our tongue. So maybe we should go back and give people some more information, have them ask questions. It wound up being a little bit rushed, so we'll probably get into that. I heard from the Cornell Studio Design Connect about our project for the fall. They actually want to start right now. And I have a meeting with them there. I don't know our two liaisons, who they are, but I'll meet them. They are out of the country or out of the area. So the only time they wanted to meet was like 10 a.m. on Sunday, which is fine with me. So we'll be meeting Sunday after next at 10 a.m. And I mentioned it during the Greenway Committee meeting and people perked up and really wanted to attend. And I was like, the more the merrier. I had planned to invite some liaisons from the Commercial Area Advisory Committee. Specifically, I was hoping Lisa would attend and maybe Spencer. Lisa does want to attend, and I just asked the CAAC, if anybody wants to attend, email me, I'll send you the link. And then the Greenway Committee, the same thing. Some people wanted to attend, so I shared the link
Just make sure you don't have three from any board
from the trustees.
or from the planning board.
Okay. Well, Lisa's not on the planning board anymore.
Right. But I'm just saying.
Okay. And finally, we did have a Greenway Committee meeting. We started talking about just an update as, John has cleared the view of in Blackchin, which was a goal of the committee. John has worked really hard. He probably undersold how hard he's working on the pollinator garden prep and also the trail, which I'm really excited about the trail at Bartel Park. I think it's going to be really beneficial to the park itself. So he's been doing a lot of stuff and it's really coming along with meeting the Greenway Committee goals. So we did also start talking about just our future plans for the parks and getting that document done for you guys, which will be the updated plan. I'm not anticipating it being done in 2026. It's going to probably be, I'd say this time next year, hopefully. That'll be ready for presentation and comments.
Takes a while to go through.
Yeah, and there's going to be, short-term goals, and we're not necessarily going to wait till the document is done to do. For example, I want to do sooner rather than later signage that lets people know that Hartel Park is down that road, which people have commented about how it looks like a private road. So we don't need to have the whole report done to work on that kind of project. Oh, Shade Garden, the Memorial Garden, the language went out started going out to the families about, it's just going to very simple say in memory and gratitude, and then have the dates. And we did get a bid or just a price from Vicky at Trident Trophies, and it's $18 for the placards. They're inexpensive. So that seems like it's going to work out pretty well.
Per placard? Yeah, that's a good price.
Yeah.
How do they attach the tree?
So
Chain or-
we're using Pat Tyrell's method. He made 2 holes and he bought a cord at Ace Hardware.
Okay,
And he said that works because it grows with the tree.
yeah, like a bungee cord type thing? Okay.
Yeah, he said he was going to send me a picture of which cord he buys. And so we're going to get that from Ace.
Yeah, that's good.
Really simple.
As long as it's not copper, because they'll come up missing overnight.
That's a good point.
Well, if it would have been stolen from the town already, if it was valuable, right? So I think that is everything.
Thank you, Carolyn. Susan?
Planning board, Mike Scott gave you the best report. And, they're continuing to work on the, codes. I don't mean codes.
Uses.
Help me out.
Zoning is.
Yeah, uses,
Chart of uses.
chart of uses,
Right.
which I admire their work
Mm.
because it's long and tedious. And Mike has spent a lot of time
Yeah.
with board members getting up to date. The only other thing, Town of Lansing had, in last night's meeting, had a discussion about who pays for attorney's fees should any of us be involved in a lawsuit. So it was an interesting discussion
Okay.
to be mindful, to follow the rules. Because if we fail to prevail, we get to pay back to the village or the town or any municipality, any attorney's fees, because the individual that has been sued has by choice or whatever reason hired his own attorney who had specific experience with this thing called the lawsuit. So just be mindful.
The town is not paying for it if he's hired his own.
Well, they are. But if he does not prevail in the suit, win the suit, then he will have to pay back the town for any attorney's fees.
Is the impetus for this lawsuit based upon their services or actions within their official duty for the town?
Well, I didn't get into the weeds at that point
Okay.
because we weren't supposed to talk about, of course, public place, but one of the employees,
Interesting.
board members.
Who is the town being sued?
The
This person-
individual. The
Individual is being sued, or did the individual start the lawsuit against the town?
No, the board member is being sued.
The guess is that the town is being sued and then they also named him individually.
That's not uncommon when, that's my biggest fear is the decision I make as a town. Whether I put a dirt pile on the side of the road and somebody hits it, I get named in a lawsuit too.
Absolutely.
And that's why
We are
like-
employees.
I guess we need to confirm, but it's my understanding, and anybody correct if I'm wrong, is if you were sued for an action that you took on behalf of the village within your official duties, that the village attorneys would represent you.
I think that's correct. I think the issue Susan's raising is that instead of using the village attorneys, or in this case, the town attorneys, that individual opted to use private attorneys, in which case they were saying, if you prevail, that's fine. And if you don't prevail, then you need to pay the bill.
So bottom line is taxpayers are not going to, in the end of this thing called lawsuit, have to be responsible for payment of.
If you prevail and also attorney's fees, if you don't get attorney's fees, then there will be a bill.
Well, that's a whole,
I got sued personally by the village, by Boris Simpkin from the decision I made and held up his CFC on Sunpath Road here in the village. He took me to small claims court down in the city of Ithaca. I talked to Don and David DeBow at the time, and I went on my own. Cricket, in the meantime, was named in a lawsuit because he sat in the town of Lansing, because the village sits in the town of Lansing. So he brought their attorney and Cricket went down. I went down alone. And they didn't say I could take an attorney. I asked Don and David at the time, oh, you don't need it. If you lose, then we'll just pay the bill. Well, my name's on the whole thing. I ended up winning, but the whole point of it was, I don't think it was right that I didn't at least get represented or have counsel advice at the time. It was like Judge Judy. I had to take my own evidence down. I had to do everything myself in order to prevail. And it was an awful feeling. I'm telling you right now, even though it was for less than $5,000, it was an awful feeling.
the point.
My guess is that because of the small claims court, they didn't take it as seriously as you would have
Right.
preferred.
I understand it because it's only a
Like
judgment.
you would have
It's not like a civil suit. It's a judgment.
Mhm.
And that goes against your record, not
It didn't feel
village's
good to you.
record, your record.
Well, I guess the thing from this discussion, thank you, Susan, for bringing this up, is that if you are in that position, we as a village need to make a decision on what to do. It should not be my decision. It should not be attorney's decision. It should be trustees and attorney making that decision. So if it's personal, we would still need to have an executive session, I think, as trustees to determine how to best proceed to get legal representation for any of these staff or board. So when this has, so the takeaway from this is don't assume you have to hire an attorney before you contact us.
And don't speak. Don't speak. The best thing you can do. I also got sued by Ann Karen on Bush Lane because she slipped on a manhole cover. And I personally had to get deposed in insurance court. And I wasn't represented at that time either.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not a good, that was over $40,000.
You know, that's not a good situation. Sorry to put in that position. So that should not happen, not without a trustees discussion.
Yeah, it'll be on an individual case by case basis.
Absolutely.
But something like that, him being sued for the manhole cover would be something that I would think it was appropriate to
Take
provide support
Come in.
by council.
I just hate to get a, yes,
Okay, we're going to take a few minute break here.
With regard to the town, I was wondering how the Governor Hochul's decision on moratorium was impacting them. And I couldn't figure out. Finally saw a newspaper article yesterday. It's unclear.
I read the same article.
Will impact the data center. So that's why I couldn't figure it out.
Sarah Wolf is interpreting it. It's not going to impact us at all.
Right, of course, but wouldn't you take that interpretation also? It was,
Yes, interesting times.
are we taking a break?
Yeah, we'll take a short break. We'll leave the recording going. It's on now. We're taking a small break. See if I can pause the. Okay, we're back from a small break. Susan, was there anything else?
The only other piece that we have to pay attention to in terms of budget is the increased costs of healthcare, the healthcare consortium,
Yes.
with regard to benefits.
What's the increase?
There's no increase at this point, but our contribution potentially because of the high cost of the benefit package that we get from our health insurance.
It goes up every year,
Yeah, it has to go up.
insurance.
Everybody says,
It's insurance.
the only thing I would like to talk about that sometime is post-retirement health insurance.
On this agenda, on the extra topics for today.
Okay.
Take it away, Mayor.
No, we're not through yet.
All right.
Patrick,
Had a joint youth commission meeting on Tuesday. Things are pretty quiet. They're going, we got a budget meeting next month. They're gonna be asking for some more money from some of the municipalities.
based upon use or just size? Okay, all right.
I know town of Ithaca is gonna be asked to increase their, what they give. We're gonna be asked to increase a little bit, like $900, I think. But they'll probably talk about that another day. Still there.
Our youth numbers have increased. The number of youth in the village has increased.
I think a little bit,
And
yeah.
they're doing it based on demographics.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that we are seeing an increase, no matter which municipality. I'm glad to see more youth getting involved, no matter where they are, but especially here for the village.
I figured $900 is worth it.
Yeah, I think so. But that'll be our discussion when it comes around.
Exactly.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Thanks, Pat. Kathleen?
CSC will be meeting to be determined, similar to the BZA, just because we're still waiting for the priorities from the state, the updated 2026 priorities. So the standing time can be there, but the actual time will be to be determined. I did ask if people wanted to have Ashley Seafried and Jerry Sheng. Ashley's Southern Tier 8 Regional Economic Advisory Board and our CSC Task Force Advisor. And Jerry is the Clean Energy Community Coordinator from and our Cornell Cooperative Extension Liaison to the task force. When those updates are finalized for 2026, would the village be interested in inviting, similar to the youth, of having them come out and explain the program, the services, the funding opportunities, and the change in direction and priorities?
Yeah, my only concern that I think I mentioned to everyone is just make sure we don't already have a dense meeting, that we're going to have 3 hours of plus a presentation.
So what
Just in
I'll
case.
do is line up 2 or 3 potential Monday dates and then see what is best with the agenda.
You have an idea
You
when
can't do
the,
that until the
That's what I was-
determinations are made.
Right.
so I was gonna ask.
Determinations are made before you even.
Both
make that.
separately,
Well,
right?
but I was about to ask you a date when you'll get
But
the,
I mean, you're open to it. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a good presentation. It lets us know
And then,
directions we should start taking with future decisions.
and how about Kegel Lake Watershed Intermunicipal? They came last July.
Yeah, it's been about a year.
Um, Just wondering if you're interested in that again,
Is there a lot of different updates that you haven't already given us? I mean,
just feedback. Because they are willing to come out again.
They usually have a standard presentation that they put together when they're starting their next round of presentations to municipalities. Do they have anything like that yet?
It's ongoing, so.
Well, it
They can
goes as they need.
tailor it to your committee, because when they came to us, they went over the budget and they could answer specific questions related to
our country.
hey, your dues are this and somebody else's are that. And then any specific projects that the village is interested in, that they can't submit, but they can assist with the grant. So any projects that, but just let me know, the next meeting for Quio is next week on the 22nd, 3 to 5. It's in person. You all got the packet. I sent that out. It's and then the Environmental Management Council, July 9th meeting. I sent out the presentation on the Ithaca City School District Climate Action Plan that the student representative presented, and then the Q&A session. The Quio, there is a certificate of attendance if you want continuing ed that you can submit to the municipalities. And that's why that was just one of the things I asked you to pay attention to. It's Planning for Agriculture. The speaker is the Associate Environmental Analyst with New York State Department of Ag and Marketing. And let's see what else. Water Resource Council, no July meeting. And that's about it for now.
Okay, thank you. Additional topics. Okay, where to start? We'll go with the easy one. The website redesign discussion. You saw my feedback from GovStack. I wasn't unimpressed with their presentation, kind of midline with a lot of the other providers. I had asked them a couple of questions that they balked on. They would have to go contact their technical support team, which surprised me because one of the questions was, do they enforce strong passwords? i.e., does it have a minimum length that we can set? and require a random password or a password that contains the characters that you all have encountered. I don't know. That was just like one of the most simple, basic questions. And the person that was presenting said, I don't know. I'm pretty sure we do, but I'm not sure. And that gave me pause from a technical side. And that's why at that point, I started paying more attention. They could do this and they could do that. And I never gave anyone time to show me a demo because I said, I want to pause the demos. I want those demos to be for all of us to see. But if there's something specific that you want to show me, like how would you set password length and security and so forth, you could show me that. It didn't come up. So anyway, we had previously chosen Civic Plus, Flourish Design. Civic Plus is national, Flourish Design is local, and MuniBit. I don't recommend GovStack, but what do you think?
Unibid, I know, is always at conference. So that may be. And then it's too also.
So
Or maybe that's something we can. But you guys don't want to wait until we go to conference, so.
yeah, that'd be hard. Should GovStack was borderline whether we should really want a demo from them. And so I'll let you decide that this is really our decision because it's going to be our website. It's not going to be my website.
We can take your impressions. I think you've done enough initial research. You have good candidates for us already that you're happier with.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just have to
Definitely trust your judgment.
Well,
procurement.
we have three now, and each one is an hour and a half commitment
Mhm.
for participation. So, okay, all right.
Yeah, but you need three for.
All right,
procurement.
so I've sent you my list of questions that I was going to send out to those three. I will send that out tomorrow. And with the request to start, to let me know about their windows of opportunity to give us a demo, and then I'll contact all of you to let me know if you'll be available. I'm also, if you looked at the questions, I'm asking for their permission to record the demos so that anyone who cannot attend a particular session for whatever reason could then turn around and watch the demonstration and hear the questions and answers. So if anyone says no, that would give me a pause because they may not be a good vendor to work with. So I will do all that. I'll start scheduling it, and then we will get the demos. And after that, we can. I've asked them to give us a ballpark estimate, but until they hear from us, our questions and how they might develop, it would change their overall. It might change their overall design. And so after the demonstration, our questions and answers, we'll come back and ask for a quote from them about the cost, the subscription, and the time frame that they will require to implement the design and move the content. So we'll get all that from them as the last stage. So if that's okay with everyone, does that sound good?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Great questions.
I don't think they're going to be able to answer all of those in this session. That it would be probably a half day presentation, but at least they get a feel for where we're going.
Yeah.
The next discussion will be our emergency preparedness plan. I have finished the last version that I will send to you tomorrow. I would like to have that on Monday night's agenda to talk about, to see if it's the right direction, if we need to do anything different. The thing to remember on this plan, it is not meant to, it is not really meant to populate the county's emergency management plan, comprehensive emergency plan. It is meant for something that we trigger internally when a disaster a state of disaster or state of emergency has been called or activated by myself or another municipality or a county. So it's just what we do. So then that's all it is. So I would like to put that on Monday night's agenda if that's okay with everyone.
Yes, please.
It's not very long, 3 or 4 pages, but
You'll send that out to everybody?
yeah, I'll send it out this afternoon. One of the pages is a schematic or a organizational flow chart. Thank you. So the next topic, fund balance policy. Back in April 21st, I sent you the latest copy. It's called Draft 2 of the fund balance policy. I would like to put that on Monday night's meeting to see if we can't solidify that, if not vote on it. Things we need to decide, what types of limits or ranges do we want to put in each fund balance?
I would prefer you wait until I'm here.
Okay.
If everyone's okay with that, because I'm gonna have input on that as I deal with it.
Okay, wait for Jody to return.
So I'll put that on the August agenda.
August 3rd?
Hmm.
Okay. If anyone needs that again, let me know. I will send it up to you, but it was April 21st email. If you can't find that email, let me know and I'll send it out again.
Well, what, didn't we replace that with the one that I had already done? And we went back to that one, and then all you guys need to decide was what you want the amounts to be.
Yeah, I think it is that one, but I'll confirm it with you that it was yours. I think that's why it became a draft 2.
So if you could just resend the draft too, just so we're sure we got the right.
Yeah, I'll check with Jody to be sure that it's the version, that I worked on the right version, and once we got that I can send it out. Okay. Another topic, the Greenway landscaping concerns, the Cuyahoga Landscape did come out and do their work. I know we still have concerns about the landscaping. John had mentioned we might want to do an outside walk around, but with the current air quality, we probably shouldn't. But we can discuss it. Is there anything further that we want to see done to the village landscaping around the offices here?
Joey and I went out briefly yesterday and I do think that the rain garden is a bit problematic because it's quite messy. And I had looked at, Lorraine actually brought to our attention how neat and tidy the Benderson development, like the Staples, TJ Maxx stuff is. They have a purple evergreen as their backdrop plant that's about 6 feet tall bush that's going to be there all year. Then they have something shorter that's more, that gives you some summer interest, that flowers. And then what we have in front that would be shorter as well. So I'm kind of thinking of a 4-tiered, tidy, low maintenance situation where the lowest tier in the front could be maybe annuals that we put in. So it'd be like a bush that is always purple, then something that will flower in the summer. They have at Wegmans and they have at Benderson, like some kind of rose to me, but maybe it's not a rose. I don't know. And then our front could stay. I think it's that middle area and actually what's against the wall over there that is what looks so untidy.
The thing that we need to remember is the things against the wall are small retention ponds.
Yeah, that's the issue.
It's not, and so she mentioned rain garden. Under the original plans, it was a rain garden, but it was switched to a bioretention, which means that, they filter the water quality, like parking lot runoff, roof leader runoffs. So it's not a rain garden anymore.
Okay.
It was converted to a bioretention. So that changes the whole structure of the pond itself. I had Donnie look into it because I didn't have any of the plans. It was kind of weird how this building went down. It was like 3 different designers in it. There was a little bit of the site development by T.G. Miller, then another architect design, and then there was Cuyahoga Landscape who did some of the plantings. So we don't really have a bona fide planting plan. I have a setup with all of the ponds, and I have a plan with reflecting all the ponds and everything. My biggest concern, I agree, Carolyn, that I have the original planting plan for it, so we can kind of correlate that with what's in there. The second thing is too, I really think we have to be super cautious about allowing people to just donate trees and plant next to buildings. This particular tree here was donated by Sylvia Smith, the original mayor of the village or something like that. But look, what do you see out there? You see high lines right underneath it or right above it. That's a building that's going to be a leaf problem or a tree that's going to be a leaf problem. This other one over here is actually getting so big now that it needs to go before it gets too big and destroys everything during its removal. So once we get, I feel like that tree is going to probably have to stay for a few years, but it's going to be a problem. But this tree out here, we need to look at.
We approved it being put there.
I didn't approve it. I mean, I would have made a recommendation probably not to put it. I would have made something so it doesn't
The
grow.
board decided they want it there so they could see it through this window. It was done in a meeting.
No, I believe you. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying we have to be cautious about allowing stuff to be planted like this. We have lots of open space in parks.
And why does the tree over in the corner here have to be removed, John?
Because the roots are already starting to pop out through the ground over next to the sidewalk, and the tree is so big right now that it's already starting to shade a corner of the roof. And years ago, a roof was made to be wet to hold the stones longer than, but now they just create mold issues on mold and mildew and mossy issues on the trusses. And that's what'll happen within a few years. So if you just look at that tree, maybe for the next couple of years, we can get with an aggressive low-lying trim of the lower branches and see what that does. But you have to think about that tree's long-term.
System is still the problem.
Yeah, oh yeah, the root system is gonna be a problem. That tree has, I mean, like, I like you to landscape, but sometimes I don't think they think about the long term. Like, who would put a tree in front of a flagpole? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me because that tree is gonna start to grow into the flag. You know what I mean? It just, the little things like that. A big oak tree. Oak trees are made for big areas. They're sprawling, unless you use a columnar situation. Like a columnar oak would have been great there because they grow in a column. They don't, and they're not as intrusive.
Yeah, I hate planting trees and having to turn around in 5 to 10 years.
I agree. 100% agree.
John, can you share that planning plan? Sorry.
Absolutely. I'll send it to you right now.
You said it to everybody?
Yep. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll let you send it along. I'll send it to Jody. I'll send it when I get up to the office.
Thanks.
okay.
Cause I don't have like a group. I don't know if you guys have a group of emails or something. I have.
a group.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just follow the original planning plan that was done. That's possible. Or I know that we will have to leave some of what is in the low shallows. We'll have to stay for the filtering process, but maybe there's one row between the building and the shallow area that we could put something that's more tidy and that will.
Now, there's this wall on this side could probably use some work, or we could put something that's decorative in there.
Yeah,
Because it
it's
just
a great
kind
idea.
of, what you were
Well, I
describing.
don't think you should put anything more out here unless you reduce something in its place.
So that's what I mean,
Oh, okay.
place, not,
Okay.
so I was talking about Carolyn was talking about the 3-level planting on the west side might look good. Because that's a very visible side when people are driving by.
Yeah,
So we'll
I'm
send-
just saying there's an open space in between Jody's window and Mike's window that just goes in. I think you should either, one, fill it in or remove and make something tasteful more along the wall all the way to reduce the amount of
You
maintenance.
don't think right up against the building.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's already there.
there's a stone path that goes around.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
So
not what
I
I mean.
can't.
What I'm saying is they made it so there's a little jug handle or coffee cup handle in the center of it. It's almost impossible to mow.
Okay.
It's a weed whack the whole thing. And you go in there, you back out and that's it. It makes no sense.
This is
You know what I
kind of the inspo picture. Got
Yeah,
like the purple and then we have something.
Oh, no, I
color,
like that.
and
I mean,
it's Real
absolutely.
simple,
yeah.
but it's tidy.
But instead of running out to the sidewalk, maybe reduce it and run it parallel outside of the stones. So it doesn't take up the whole, like they put stones right next to the sidewalk. When the guys run the snow blower on it, they get stones in the snow blower.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about everything.
Purple.
I'm talking about,
The stones and something tidy in the front and then this,
She's-
we have a fourth layer, but I would put annual.
I'm talking about both. I was talking about the building.
I do.
I mean, I don't think it needs to go out to the sidewalk. It
Is that
needs to be cut back.
No.
That's fine.
Henderson's.
In other words,
Oh, I see
We-
what you're, but then you have to mow right along.
I would rather mow along a linear footage than to come in as a coffee cup handle. You see what I'm saying? Instead of having it just two big block gardens and then open lawn space in the middle, make it all one long garden and
Right.
have a grass strip in front of it.
Yeah.
So now if these guys are off 2 inches with the blade, when there's 6, 8 inches of snow on the road, they're not digging into the flowers, they're digging into lawn, which is easily repairable. Or if the salt gets on it, we can plant grass quick. We can't replace trees because of salt damage. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that just makes common sense.
so we need to look at the old plans and we don't have to decide all of this today, but look
Yeah.
into future new plantings and or removal in new plantings, that type of thing. So it's something that we should discuss.
I do think there's a lot of salvageable plants down there with some and tasteful additions, and I'm all for it. All for something that makes perfect beautification yet sense. You know what I mean? And as I'm saying is, if you think about how that's done, linear versus clumps and crevices, it all makes perfect sense. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to give radius and shapes like we do for the rain garden. Kidney beans, radiuses and shapes, easy to maintain when you're riding lawnmowers, stuff like that. But what Dave did was he planted a tree there, he planted a tree in front of the flag, and then he made everything almost right tight to the sidewalk. So if you're off 2 inches with a blade, you're just digging it up and it makes no sense.
Okay.
They're just, he's regarding as a border.
Yeah, grassy area between the sidewalk and the plantings as a grassy border, and it just makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So basically what we need to do is go forward with some changes, reuse as many plants as we can. And address trees, potential tree removal, but to try to save trees by some aggressive pruning where need be. The flagpole, I don't know how you're going to trim around the flagpole.
The trees have to make sense where they're going. I have 125 acres of trees at home. I just don't go in the woods and cut trees because I want to. I leave them there because I like them. You know what I mean? I like trees, but they have a purpose.
Yeah.
And they have a place.
Yes. And when you plant a tree, it needs to be, what's the long-term impact of that tree going to be? So, okay, so we're learning lessons as we go along, but we do need to proceed with evaluating the old plan and trying to come up with a new plan that takes care of beautification and solves maintenance problems.
I looked through the plans this morning, Chris and I did. We couldn't find anything. So I got with Donnie because they were involved with a lot of it. I was excluded out of the front office design and stuff. So basically he found some stuff. I'll send you what he found you with what he had noted in his language. We basically have a planting species list and basically a retention area and what the purpose is.
Okay.
So I'll send you that.
So there's no drawing.
There's a drawing on the stormwater stuff, but no planting plan that shows where each specific.
Oh.
There is a species list of what was planted.
Oh, yeah, there should have been.
Because like he said, you need something that actually penetrates the substrates of the retention or bioretention area. So it allows the water to run down there and filter as it goes down into the under draining to be able to exit somewhat cleaner than it entered.
It's similar to,
Sorry, go ahead. All this being said, just getting Cayuga Landscape out there for the tidying made an enormous difference. So next year we have to have them be on them to come out sooner.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, what is it, it's July? We should make sure they come out in May. maybe?
I have a plethora of emails stating
I know.
that
They needed to come out.
that I wanted him to come out pricing and this and that.
Mhm.
And, you know,
I think
he's
we
like,
should-
wait until the daffodils, we gotta wait till the daffodils are all ready to go. Well, that's June.
Yeah, it's too late.
And, you know, and
We
that's,
should have about once a month in the summer,
I agree.
because the weeds are out there already. They were just.
Dollar for dollar, maintenance is cheaper than reconstruction. And that's every time they come in here, they reconstruct this flower bed because it's that
Do we
far.
want to think about a smaller operation, or we can't? It has to be somebody who pays like for something like weeding, does it have to be Cayuga Landscape? Is it like a bid thing or can?
This is maintenance here. It's outside of the right of way, so they don't charge prevailing wage. That's where we save a little money on this.
So then we don't have to use Piggly Landscape then?
No,
We could just use a small garden.
I've gotten prices from a lot of different people
Yeah.
and they were always the same
Okay.
or they couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
We'll take it on. We've had greater choice, difficult choice. We've had with Plantsman, I've contacted him numerous times. He doesn't want to pay prevailing wage. There's some parts of this projects out here that require prevailing wage and some that don't. Like this maintenance around the building does not require anything outside of the curb up to the flower planter down on Trip Hammer and then the road corridor requires prevailing wage. He doesn't want to do prevailing wage because now you have to log it into the Department of Labor website.
Paperwork them all.
So there's a lot more paperwork and Dave's pretty much, I'm starting to see a lot of the contractors put a fee on things. Like if you see some of his estimates, he's starting to put fees because of this administrative extra work. You can't just charge the guy that's doing or the person that's doing the work in the field.
Okay, all right.
All right, sorry about that. I didn't mean that.
This is good discussion. This is fine. So we need to proceed. Get us whatever you can of the old plans or anything that would help.
I'll send you what I got.
And then,
Jody or Mike might have the original planting plans. I'm pretty sure we've gone as far as having a lighting plan. So I know there's some planting plans somewhere. I just don't have them.
know where they are.
I don't have them. I was included in the original, some of the stuff. And then they just,
Yeah, could we contact to start?
Remember that when the building was built? Were you a trustee?
It was just before I came on.
Okay.
Just before.
Bad, because you'd have your own emails. Not everybody
Mike has to
that.
have
You could
it.
easily have your own emails.
you look? Yeah. I'll look again. And then maybe we can call, do you remember the engineer that was involved in this architect? It was somebody out of
I'd have to
Syracuse.
pull out the capital.
Yeah.
Lynn might have,
I know Lynn,
bioswale. Yeah.
And they both.
yeah, the landfill.
So Lynn, because it is a bioswale and you do need specific plantings that are different from just a flat area like downtown.
Rain gardens are a lot different to bio.
And aggressive maintenance, I agree with that. You can, significantly prune things that are near power lines so that it doesn't become a problem. And for maintenance, what the existing bioswale, the ones that no longer work, you need the weeding that's done. It takes some maintenance.
Mhm.
So I would put that as kind of a priority before anyways. And then if something has to be replaced, then it needs to be specific to a bioswale as opposed to just regular garden. Okay.
The last topic I have for today is a can of worms.
Which one are you talking about? Post-retirement health insurance or sewer?
That's true, we have two.
Well, we should do the post-retirement healthcare plans. I have put together information about that, and I will send it to the trustees this afternoon. I want us to start that discussion at Monday night. We probably won't make a decision, but we'll get it started so that within August, I think we should make a decision on that. It's not that hard, but we need to consider things. For instance, we could look at percentages of this and percentages of that. But in reality, what we should probably do is the quickest and easiest is raise the cap on what the village will pay in retirement. So we can calculate what do we want to pay, because at that point, we've got one number we're worried about. We know what that number is, and it's going to be for every retiree for the village for the next budget cycle. So look, the information I send you, look at the cap, and we need to determine it's probably not enough. What should it be? And we will want to get feedback from potential retirees, which are the staff at the same time. Does this sound practical? Okay, so I will send that out this afternoon.
The only thing I could, if I could comment a little bit about that is, and you know me, I like to comment, but you know, it's, the village has a low turnover. And that's one thing to keep in mind, low turnover because it's a great place to work. One thing that we've always been a little deficient in is the post-retirement health benefits. And that's a benefit package for hiring new people as well. When somebody comes on, they see that benefit package and they think, well, geez, I want to work there because they think about their employees after they're not employees. And that's something that we consider.
Absolutely. And it's complicated
It is complicated though.
because you can't anticipate future needs.
No.
But it's paying attention to today, what your life looks like, and then potential complications in terms of healthcare. And then
That's what I'll be sending it to. Fund
It's not-
balance. Okay.
I'll send you mine.
Okay. So that, we'll start that discussion, at Monday night's meeting. The final topic, which is always leading to the can of worms, the Remington Road Bypass Project. We've discussed it in the past several times as something down the road. The can is reaching the end of the road. What I am hearing from Linda Wood, from Village of Cayuga Heights, they are at times exceeding daily maximum load. We have not necessarily even extreme rate events, but rain events. They can only have 2 or 3 of those per month, or DEC comes in and starts investigating. They are also at times approaching their monthly maximum load, discharge load, which is another trigger for the DEC. I don't know how Ithaca Area Wastewater Treatment Facility that we would be diverting to, I still haven't heard back from them as to whether or not they can receive our diverted flow. I've left voicemail for the supervisor. No return. This afternoon, I will try to call them one more time. But at that point, I am also going to send, if I don't reach them, speak with them, I will send them an email and copy their mayor, so that someone else can put pressure on them. We have to know if we really want to do this. Can it even be done? Can the Ithaca area plant even receive the amount of sewage that we would be sending their way? We don't know that. And Linda had concerns. She was concerned that they might not be able to. She couldn't explain why. She just said she wasn't confident that they could. So if we have to have that decision, if the Remington Road bypass cannot be built, then there is a much bigger issue for the entire government. And that means that at some point, there will be a moratorium on sewer units. I don't know to what extent that would apply to individual homes, but for multi-unit residential sewer units, there would be a moratorium. So but I think the first moratorium, it did impact individuals too. And that it could be that bad. So what I am asking trustees to do with me is to take on the responsibility of pushing these decisions through, not kicking the can. We're going to pick up the can and we're going to direct it. This means through both of the plants and basically the group of 6 municipalities that participate in flow to both the Ithaca area and Village of Cayuga Heights wastewater treatment facilities. We will probably be paying the most for the project. It depends on which direction we go, how much it's going to cost. But the December 2025 estimate, it was only The difference between the two final routes was 100, or not even 100, say $45,000. The thing we have to look at is of the two routes, which one is best for long-term, not just for sewer flow, but for maintenance. The Cayuga Street route, which is the westerly route of the pipeline, would be below the 382-foot, I can't remember what they call it. Hang on a second, I have it here. It's something I had not heard of until I read this. That highlighted. Anyway, it's below the water line, potential water line from the lake. So we would have to dig a ditch, put the line in, and be aware of that we would have to deal with potential water that would be seeping into that ditch and the line. Which to me means a big concern. It may be the easier route, faster route to have something built, but long-term, I think it might endanger that line. And I don't know, John, just something to think about. The other route is would be going through the town of Ithaca and also through that part of Lake Street in the town of Ithaca is a state highway. And we would have to go through their standards to put anything in, which is administrative nightmare. But if it's also above that water line that I mentioned, it would prevent long-term nightmares by dealing with stuff up front with the state. The thing that we need to do is, first of all, determine if it can be done. If it can, how do we do it? For that, how? I think that we need to get with Natalie and ourselves and come up with the memorandum of understanding between the facilities and the municipalities as to who is responsible for paying for it, who is responsible for maintaining it. So we will need a memorandum of understanding. And then once we get that signed, that's like, I say, I think you probably can imagine how difficult it's going to be. Then we need to start working on completing the engineering drawings, finalizing those. We will have to pick the best route for the project and then proceed with bids and funding it. Those are all easy steps that I could say within 30 seconds, but each of those is a long, arduous step. So I'm just want feedback from you to.
I would like to start with finding evidence. I don't think that there is a memorandum of understanding from the Klein Road bypass, but there must be, at least in our minutes and in Don's old emails, confirmation of what village was entitled to based on that payment plan. As far as I know, there's nothing that I personally have that's in writing, but I'm hoping the village has something somewhere, even if it's not a contract or a memorandum of understanding. So I don't know how big of a research project that is, but I don't feel like we've gotten the benefit of our bargain. And I would like that confirmed before we make additional payments for additional things. If we do ever get this far, we'll need in writing, not just what you confirmed, which is who's paying for it, blah, blah, blah. I want to know what the village is getting, and I want that in writing as well. But I'd like to start with getting what we're already due. So do you have anything in writing about that?
No, but I will tell you what I've discovered in trying to get that information. We say we haven't gotten anything. Pine Road bypass was turned on in 2005. It is now 2025. The thing we have gotten from that is 20 years of development in sewer units, plus some sewer units we haven't even used yet. So we have received a 20 years of a relatively stable sewer system going into Village of Cayuga Heights.
I agree that that is definitely valuable, but I want our actual sewer units in writing that we have remaining.
We have confirmation from the sewer units that we to them and they agreed to. Isn't that right?
We have that in writing?
Yeah, for crossings.
Yeah,
We were-
How many units we have?
Yeah,
yeah, the remaining.
that is in writing, so that's confirmed.
How many units are available at the town, right? Is that what you're asking?
How many that are left due to the
Oh, we don't have
village?
that in writing.
Because Don
We have a guest-
negotiated,
Yeah.
Don negotiated terms. So did he do it in email? Did he do it by handshake? Like, how is this done? Like, I want that evidence.
Okay,
Can I make a quick? I don't feel like Crowley Road bypass paid for itself yet. And this is my opinion on that. It's because the village paid for the whole thing. And the only thing it did was divert a small section of the town of Ithaca and Cuba Heights to the plant, to the Ithaca treatment facility. And with that said, they flew in negotiations a few years ago when they were trying to sit down with the city of Ithaca's treatment facility and their leaders and say, look, we want to figure out a fee, but we want to capture most of the income from these people. So we're going to keep most of the flow. We only want to open that valve to your plant when we have an excessive amount of flow of rainwater. And they're like, yeah, we'll do that for a premium. Just the other day, they had it opened and they were still hitting their daily maximum limits. And they were bypassing to the area treatment plant. And they got billed $26,000 from the city of Ithaca.
anything that they divert in, they measure, the city measures and.
Sure they do. But the whole point of it is they would have been cheaper for them to take the steady flow all year long than it would be to only take it in emergencies. Because when they take it all year long, they have a chemical mixture that treats the sewer, and they know what's coming in, so they know what they got to do to treat it. All of a sudden, when we don't know the valve is being turned on, we get this additional flow. We got to scramble to make the microbials do their job at the treatment facility to start digesting.
Yes.
So it's all unknown. So we're going to charge you a premium. We're going to charge you a premium for that. It would have been cheaper for them to open the valve all year long than it would be to only open it. The only thing that got greedy was Cuba Heights, because they not only charged everybody an additional 20% increase on the outside communities that go into their facility. Now they're getting all the rents from that bypass back to their treatment facility. So they're trying to gather all this stuff back to their treatment facility and only open that valve up when it's emergency. I'm the realist here that they can watch this video whenever they want, and they're going to find out that I'm speaking the truth, and they know it, and they're just greedy. And I wouldn't do a single thing on any of this until the day that they pull the plug, because you can't capital plan for this. This isn't going to route our sewer to their Ithaca facility. It's going to bypass their sewer, everything south of 13 to Ithaca's sewer, and just allow us full access of the Cuba Heights treatment plant. That's the only thing it accomplishes. So south of 13 gets bypassed. It'll take Uptown Burley. It'll take Uptown up to the Warren Road, Brentwood, Arrowwood. It'll take all of Highgate Circle. It'll take that to Ithaca area treatment facility. And a lot of others, Cuba Heights sewer. It'll take it to the Ithaca treatment facility. That's all it does. That's all that Remington Road bypass does. And then allows us complete access to the Cuba Heights treatment facility. That's the only thing it accomplishes. You're going to spend $2 million down there. I think they should spend it and distribute it amongst everybody. The fees and the rents and however maybe they put a capital project surcharge on like we did. And then when it's paid for, it comes off. And because they've already raised these sewer rents, 20% in the last couple of years to the village residents, to the town of Lansing residents, to the town of Ithaca residents, and to their own residents. It's a little bit crazy.
Let me speak to that, and these are my feelings. Okay. We have told them that that's what we wanted them to do in the past. What has been done? Zero. When the moratorium closes down, who is it going to, if the moratorium comes in, who is it going to impact most? Is it going to impact the village of Cuba Heights?
Absolutely. It'll,
How many new developments do they have going on in?
because they're getting 1%, they're getting a whole sewer charge out of the village. So every house that goes up in the village, they get a complete usage, a complete fee rent out of that. We tack on twice, we double it. And then anything from the town Lansing's, we double theirs.
Their
So-
rate.
so they get-
Yeah.
So
What
they get money.
Heights pays for sewer, they bill us 1.5 times that rate.
So it hurts them to not get rents, not get additional growth. It hurts them. So let the squeeze be on them a little bit. Let's let them engineer it. Let's let them go out and get a capital bond, and let's let them distribute the capital bond, because they can't just single the village of Lansing out. They have to spread that capital bond out between all their users. And that would be a small percentage to everybody instead of a big percentage to the village and town of Lansing residents.
The potential, the risk that we are running when we do that is, when will they do it? Will it be done at all? And if there's a moratorium, we can do no more development. Long range, long term, is that a risk we want to turn over to someone else to complete when they have shown no indication or inclination to do that?
They can't do anything to stop I&I because they finally figured it out. We figured that out a
Yeah,
long
they
time ago.
did figure it out.
It took them a long time to figure it out. It took them many thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure that out. The I&I is very difficult to treat. Especially when the other day I went down by the Colonial Vets and they got their sump pump drain right slapped over into our sewer vent. And that was their bypass for their sump pump drain, right into our sewer. Why? Because it was convenient. It was easy, and it got rid of it. Didn't go across the sidewalk. I got pictures of it. You know what I mean? I stopped down there and said, you can't do that. But the whole point of it is they're going to miss out 1.5 times of what comes out of this village into their treatment plant. They're going to miss out a lot. So everybody's going to lose a little something, and they're going to lose a lot because they're looking to treat more customers. They would love to knock the I&I down because that reduces the amount of effort it takes to make the water clear to go back, to be discharged back into the lake. I mean, you can solution to pollution is dilution, but not necessarily in this case. You need to reduce it in order to treat it quicker. The quicker it comes in, the less comes in, the quicker it goes back. I think right now, I would just see what the group of 6 has a meeting this next month. I talked to Donnie. They have like $6 million gallons reserved down to City of Ithaca treatment facility. They're not tapped out yet. They're a long ways from being tapped out.
Well, but if what we provide pushes them over their daily and or monthly maximum loads, that's what I want to find out.
Yeah, that critical first step is also something that I would want in writing. If they would have to guarantee that they're gonna take whatever it is we're given, or else definitely not even consider spending a dime.
Yeah, if they-
They're renegotiating what's going on with this Klein Road bypass right now. Because what they did was they took a bad deal. They did. Deal or no deal, they took a bad deal. And the bad deal was to only send I&I down to the treatment facility, and nobody wants, it's like going into the emergency room. Nobody wants to be in that environment. And City of Ithaca doesn't want to be that way either.
Right.
They would rather treat something consistently all year long. So that bypass right now should be open. And they should be paying a small monthly charge on what's going down there and not just this emergency
What do you
surcharge.
think, what do you anticipate the monthly charge would be?
Because, I don't know. I don't know the numbers. I don't sit down and do their numbers, but they negotiated a bad deal. Donnie and I talked about it. And they got charged $26,000 just for that couple day occurrence down there for the
I
bypass.
think it is a 3 times charge when it goes in.
Yeah.
When it goes in emergency.
Yeah,
over a certain amount.
they charge us at the top 1.5 times what goes in. In other words, they're charging you for 150% of your load. And when they go through the bypass into the Ithaca area wastewater facility is charging Village of Cuyahoga Heights 3 times. So they're tripling the load that they measure. So that's
Always, or just when it's,
all the ways. Anything that flows into that wastewater Ithaca area plant through Klein Road bypass, it's a 3 times normal charge.
but John's indicating the fact that it was so large, there was an additional penalty or fee.
It's an emergency surcharge. Like you say, it's 4 times the normal amount.
3 times, 3 or 4
times
It's
normal.
3, and then the emergency surcharge is
3 times 3.
No, I really don't know.
You pay triple the amount per 1,000 gallons that goes through.
Bonnie, can you find out what the emergency surcharge is?
Ithaca's amount
If the
or,
area
so whatever
charges-
Ithaca, what do they charge?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the numbers.
Do they charge the same as Village Heights does? Or they charge less, so 3 times
It's a-
will
it's a-
actually be the same amount,
it's
you
a-
know what I mean?
Different calculation, but ours that climb real back.
Well,
It'd be interesting.
Carolyn's got a point here, and we want to see what we're getting for money. How about we see what we got for the 20% sewer rent increase over the last couple of years? How about we see that? Because
Okay, we can ask, what we need to do then is have them come into this room and answer those questions, correct? Because otherwise,
yeah,
you ask me,
no,
I ask them.
right, yeah.
Tell someone tells them something and it comes back to me and
Sum
I'm
it up in an email instead of having them come in the room so they're under pressure. We just write a couple bullets down and ask them, what have they done?
provide me those bullets.
Yep.
Please
One
provide
question I
me.
just want to know is like what Jody said, what is the Ithaca area normal rent? And then what is the surcharge rent? And then what is the emergency surcharge?
That, I
Those
think
three
that is in their agreement. All of that
If you
is
could
in,
ask that question, I'm
ask that and come back.
curious.
When we raised our water rents though, and I'm not grilling you, Ronnie. I'm just saying that's the questions I have that are very concerning for you guys. But when we raised our water rents, there isn't a project associated right behind it. When they raised their rents 20%, I want to know what they did with it, other than just pad their system, pad something. Because Gandhi said, and I talked to Brad before he left, they haven't found any I. They haven't like found the big clicker. And you know that too, because you and I talked about it a little bit the other day. They
Well,
haven't found the big magic problem.
what Linda said to me was this. I didn't put it in the email. It's now on video, but I'll tell you what she told me. That they used T.G. Miller to use a mobile metering system or a measurement system to go through various parts of the Village of Cuyahoga Heights to try to identify where I was coming in. And she said it's the whole system.
Right.
That they can't afford to replace their entire sewer line system. So they're going to line their sewer line system. So they have realized that I is a major issue. But at the same time, in the same conversation, she said, it's the DEC is writing us because we cannot fix this problem. And we need the Remington Road bypass.
So
I
would
would
they
guess-
line, wouldn't that help it? I mean, that would,
It-
and then wouldn't that be like your first step? Let's line, let's see how much that saves us.
That's
Then decide if we're going to do.
what they were gonna try to do is redo the, line some lines is what they call it. They're gonna try to cement, impregnate the lines
Right.
and try to stop it. But I was telling Ronnie, they got 3,000 manholes over there there's 10,000 bricks in each manhole to construct it. That means there's 10,000 sides to each brick that water can penetrate to get in that manhole. So that's where I started, as a manhole. When you open up a manhole and you see water coming in two pipe or water coming in a pipe and going out a pipe, but you look and there's just water running down the manhole like a wet basement. That's a huge, have you ever seen anybody cure a wet basement? It's almost impossible. It's all in bedrock here. And that's what I wanted to kind of recap a little bit too, on your crossings down there. What's sticking out of the banks when you drive down through Cuyahoga Heights Road on 13? Rock. That rock doesn't disappear 10 feet in the ground. It's still there. And that's what makes everything stupid, really costly to try to get a pipe from one side of the road, especially the state road right away. They're 150 feet wide. That's a 150-foot sleeve you have to put in there. In order to put that sleeve in there, I know, because we put one in back of tops. 18-inch we put an 18-inch pipe through a sleeve, which is like a 30-inch sleeve. That's that big a pipe that you're drilling in through rock. They broke so many bits when they were doing it, it wasn't even funny. But they did it. And it cost the village a lot of money. And it's going to cost a lot of money to get under 13 because you got to go such a distance.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is we will not proceed with the Remington Road bypass on our part. We'll ask them to do it. I don't care what kind of details you get into from Village of Cuyahoga Heights. We can't control what they do. do we reject their price increase?
No, we
Not having
can't.
to
No
pay that.
choice.
We don't
We
have.
have no choice.
We know that. Yep.
We have no choice.
Yep.
My concern is that they're looking for someone to come in and take over Klein Road. And is that something that we can control to help our future? If we don't think it's going to be helpful, then we should stop. But warning, warning, warning. Loud, a loud siren alarm. The moratorium is coming down the road. And be prepared to deal with that. And that means that the DEC tells them no, they can tell us the Village of Lansing has 300 units left, but the DEC says there shall be no sewer units.
But if we pass a surcharge on to our customers for that, paying for the Remington Road bypass, that goes on to the town of Lansing only. If the Village of Cuba Heights does it, it goes on to the whole distribution system, the incoming system. And that's where it's easier to pay for a lot of money quicker with a lot more people paying the piper. You know what I mean? And that's,
Should they choose? Should they choose?
should they choose?
Yeah.
I don't ever foresee them, and this is debatable, and I can't project what they're thinking, but I don't see them shutting off the income like a moratorium. I think they're gonna reduce it to where I think we should leave it up to them to make decisions on whether a big development comes in the village, on whether they have enough units.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I'm just giving options because 150 units that's coming out of the town of Lansing, that could be shot down tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the developer that give the village 900,000 is gonna, and that's the thing, it was a donation.
Yeah.
I hope he don't come in with his hand out, want that money back, because it's not us.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And we all knew this was gonna be a lengthy discussion, and I appreciate it, and I'll come up with as much information as I can to help this along, and
Okay, my concern is that we can ask questions. Will we get the real answer?
okay, I agree with that. But here's the thing, when I tell you that I need money for something, it's a one-time purchase. When you need 20% increase of surcharge for I and you stop doing it, it's not costing you that money anymore. Well, wouldn't you give the benefit back to the customers?
Or just not raise rates for a while?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's all I'm saying is that was a heck of an increase and it hurt a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Okay, I will ask that they explain what the 20% increase was used for to help Village of Lansing to convince our board of trustees that it was not money that was wasted or is wasted.
My guess is that they have tons of updates that they need to take care of.
There are a lot of updates.
They have
that
plenty of
just been
things to
kicking
spend
down
the
the
money,
road.
to spend the money on. My guess is that they have a
Who's
lot
that?
of legitimate.
Y'all
Yeah.
tell you that they just tell them this has to be done, and they just don't do it.
My biggest thing is, what was the difference in numbers between all the emergency surcharges that you're sending down the Klein Road? That was my biggest question, is why all of a sudden do you want to collect all them rents when it was for bypassing into the city of Ithaca and not having such a clammy moratorium threat on the village of Lansing? That is concerning. And I agree with you 100%, Ronnie.
Sure.
It's concerning. And, moratoriums are bad for everybody. I can remember the story of 37 Beckett Way. Gupta had the last permit in the village of Lansing, last sewer connection permit in the village of Lansing. And he was forced to give it back because he didn't use it after a year and a half.
Mm.
I was there.
Gupta had to give it back. Just here you go. Somebody else many people were standing there waiting for it. That's how it was, like rations back in the wars,
That's what it was called. There was a lottery system after the moratorium.
Okay, we will get more information from the Village of Lansing, Village of Cuyahoga Heights and area wastewater treatment
I
plant.
don't know how that's gonna go over that question. It's probably gonna be like somebody questioning us. Well, I mean, maybe it's not worth asking.
No,
The Klein bypass is the one that I'm more concerned with.
I know.
Why it's not being used. The village ponied up. And it was for a bypass.
And why haven't they negotiated to leave it open all the time? And
Donnie said they were renegotiating it to try to get it open all the time because they found out it was gonna be cheaper than paying emergency surcharges.
I think they expected to save a lot of money and they did not. So if it's being renegotiated, no one's contacted me about that.
I think it would be a moot point if they renegotiated.
Yeah. I think that's negotiation between the two plants.
I think it starts with a group of 6 though.
Yeah, we can find out about that. I'll find out if it's being renegotiated and what kind of deal. Why isn't it open? And is that going to relieve any excess flow going into the village of Cuyahoga Heights, therefore postponing the Remington Road bypass?
So I just want to bother you for just one more second. If they take all that additional flow from the Klein Road bypass so they can capture the rents, the cup is full, right? Their treatment facility is full because they're getting much more volume in there. Okay, when a rain rush comes in, that has no reserve capacity, what they call a freeboard, the availability between the brim of the cup.
Mhm.
So if that's full because they're operating at its full capacity most of the time, when the rain does come, they can't take the additional flow. So therefore, if they would bypass all the time, it might leave them more freeboard to take an inrush of flow, the first flush of a storm.
Yeah, it's possible.
So those questions like that are the ones I would like to answer, have the answer to. If they bypassed all the time, would it make them have capacity during a first flush of a 2-inch rainstorm?
All right, I will try to find out if they're renegotiating that, why. And also that there is some concern that the 20% rate increases, we see no visible results of that money being used to help our future needs.
Reducing the capacity or reducing their daily loads.
All right, I will do that then. So thank you all for discussing. Any other points of view? Okay. Then I think that I've covered all the topics we need to cover today. So I move that we adjourn at 2:10. Susan seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.
Peace out.
I hope it was.